Okay.
Hey everybody, welcome to being an owner operator in the trucking industry. We're really excited to have you join us today. My name is Megan McFall. I am the Southeastern Regional Director for the Small Business Development Center, and I am over the SPARC building here in Blanding, Utah. I'm really excited to have Patty Garcia here with us today, and she's going to talk about how her and her husband Francisco built their trucking company over the past couple of years, and both the good, the bad, the ugly, things like that. But we'll also have a Q&A section at the end, so make sure that you're writing down your questions. If you're joining us live on social media, please put your questions in the chat because I will go through and I'll ask those questions as well of Patty, so don't feel like you're left out. If you're joining us on Zoom, feel free to ask those questions live during the Q&A section as well. But I'm going to turn the time over to Patty to kind of go through the process of how she bought her trucking company and how they've built that up over the few years. So Patty, go ahead and take that away.
Hi, good morning. My name is Patty Garcia, and we live here in Draper, Utah. My husband is Francisco. He's not available to be here today, but I will try to do my best and answering questions. And first, I'm going to start telling you that we bought an existing company. My husband was a driver for 30 years for a local company, XPO. The name of the company was XPO. And after it was about 21 years, he decided to open his own trucking company. So we thought it was going to be something easy to do and it was going to be beautiful. But unfortunately, well, there's a lot of things going. There's a lot of steps that you have to follow when you're opening a company that we didn't do. One way to do it is like we did by an existing company that is already set up and ready to run, and just transfer everything to your name. So that's basically what we did. And so we just had to open register a company with the state and transfer the name of their company to our company, and then transfer all the permits from the DOT, MC number. So I didn't have to go through the whole process of register a whole company. We just transfer everything to us and we start running. But still, it was a lot of steps that we didn't know, that we find out later that it couldn't be easier if we knew about all that. But we didn't. So if you're planning, first of all, I'm not sure if everyone is just in the process of getting the CDL, or anyone here had experience already working for a company. So I'm not sure. Oh, you're on mute. I think I can.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
So you've got a mixture of students here. So some are in the process of getting their CDL, but others have their CDL and are looking for different pathways to utilize their CDL.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's good to know. So the first thing you have to do in order to open a company, like if you want to be an owner operator, of course, is having the truck, right? So that's the first step. Trying to get it's really hard to get finance at the beginning when you're opening a company. Is really, really hard. So it's best to save money and either use probably the equity of your house or a personal loan, or apply for a loan, but it's going to be really hard to get a commercial truck when you're starting your own business, especially now that they're like really expensive. And in order to get a trailer too, it's the same process. They won't borrow you anything until you're actually 2 years in a business, or a year that you're established already. So in order to open a company, it's better to get loans through a different route, like a home equity or HELOC through your house or personal loan, so you can acquire that. So you can get a truck and a trailer. The second thing is register a company, and we're here in Utah, so register a company, an LLC or corporation. I'm not an accounting, so I'm not. You can talk to your accounting and find out what is the best way to go. We personally have a corporation now that we have 6 trucks and 6 trailers running. So, but at the beginning we had it as an LLC. So, but you can talk to an accounting and they can explain you better on that situation. The second thing you have to get is USDOT, which is a permit. It's like identification number that it will be with your company. And so when you have an officer on the road that's going to stop you, that's your personal number in your company. Everyone is going to ask you for the USDOT number. And there's a website that I'm not sure if I can send it to Megan and she can give you all the websites, but this is www.fmcsa.dot.gov.
Patty, if you want to put those in the chat, and then after I can send it out, email it to everybody.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. Let me see where. Well, I will put it. I will send you the whole the paper that I have with all the information on it.
That's
but
perfect.
That's a really good source of information because they will tell you every single thing that you have to do when you're planning on opening your own company. They will go step by step, and there's actually companies outside the DOT that can help you to register everything. So you don't have to go through the process because there's so many details and a lot of information that when you're new in the business, even though if you're a driver, it's a lot of things that you need to know before you open the company. So, but one thing you have to get is a DOT number, which is going to be like a social security for your company. And another one is MC number, the authority to actually operate in the United States or locally. So those are two really main things those 2 numbers that are the main thing that you have to have as a company. And I will email the website I will send Megan the website so you guys can get in. And there's a lot of information there that you can get. Another thing that you guys need to have is UCR, is Unified Carrier Registration. That is a yearly permit for you to operate as an owner operator or as a company, as a trucking company. Another registration that you have to have is called IFTA. And I'm going to go a little bit over each one later. IFTA is another registration that you have to have with the state of Utah for the diesel that you have to taxes on the diesel that you use going through each state. It's different when you're local and when we're going to every state in the United States. It's different. There's not a lot of things that you have to do when you're local than when you go out of Utah. So, because every state is different. That's international fuel taxes. There's another website that I can give to, and that's where you file quarterly your taxes with the state for the diesel that you use in different states. So the one way to do it is you do it yourself, and you go through all the process of register your company, getting the DOT, getting the the MC number, and all the requirements that you need to be an owner operator as a company. Or another way to do it is to jump into an existing company that they will take you over their wings, and you're going to be part of the company, and you're going to use the DOT, the MC number, all the registration for the company is going to be in your truck. And but there's well, it's between the owner and you. You can talk to them and see how you guys can get paid in order to work under their wings. And that's sometimes it's easier because you don't have to do all the process. You just go under everything they already have established. And usually they will give you all the the loads for you to run. So that's an easier way to go when you're not really familiar with everything. And one thing that is really important is that if you guys are starting right now and you're going to get your CDL, the first thing is that it's not going to be easy for you guys to either get a job or open a company. When you open a company, you can open a company and hire drivers with experience, because the insurance is involved in all this. And the insurance for the trucks, they usually want drivers with at least 2 years of experience over the road or locally. So that's the main thing. Honestly, that was a nightmare. When my husband got his license, no one will give him a chance to drive. That was like 25 years ago. Because he didn't have experience, and we were like, okay, if you don't have experience and you don't let me try, how are we gonna get the experience, right? But that's how it is. So he just started working locally for local companies that give him a chance, a little here and there, and he started getting 6 months, and then it was 1 year, and then this company XPO gave him the chance to actually jump in and start working with them. And that's when he started getting his experience. Another thing is that some companies like England, and I believe England, XPO is one of them. What's another company? Well, there's a few companies locally that they will take you without the license, and they will train you, and they will pay for all the expenses for a license. Sometimes you have to sign a contract for 2 years, but again, it's hard to get experience. Nobody wants to hire you. So if you jump in a company and they pay for everything, and they train you, and they give you the chance to work for 2 years, after the 2 years, you can, do your own thing. And instead of trying to get a job on your own, and it's really hard to get it. So, and if you already have the license and you want to be owner operator, another really important thing on top of all the process is to have a budget. Really, you have to have at least what we do in our company. We have at least $20,000 in the back of each truck, because there's so many things that can happen. The engine can blow on the freeway, tires, the insurance, if you don't have a driver. So having money on having an account just at the side of the company is like the main thing for me. Because if you don't have that and something happened and you only have one truck, the insurance keep running, bills keep running. And then if you don't have that, there's a lot of companies out there that they just close and they go to work for someone because they don't have that in the back. You don't have time to get all the money that you need to keep running. So, and another thing is that when you're starting a company and your MC number is new, usually the brokers are the people that will give you all the loads. And there's a website. I mean, you don't have to worry about how I'm going to get all the brokers. There's a website called DAT that you sign for that. You pay a monthly fee. And they actually is like a pool of brokers that they will put all the loads that you can look every morning, and you can choose either wherever you want to go. They will tell you how much they're going to pay you, the weight of the load, what is it that you're hauling, and they will give you all the information about the load, and you just have to accept the load. So the way they're going to give you the load is going to check your MC number. The first thing they do is, what is your MC number? So they go to the website and they check how old your company is, if you have been in an accident, if you have for some reason suspended the authority to drive on the states, if you didn't comply with the DOT, like if an officer stopped one of your trucks and you didn't have the insurance, you didn't have the right equipment, if your equipment it was damaged, sometimes they put a hold on your authority and you can't drive. So the first thing they ask you is for your MC number. And based on that, they give you loads. So if you're pretty new, usually the brokers won't give you loads. There's a few that will give you loads, and they're not going to pay you well. So like I said at the beginning, you have to have this pillow of like financially, you have to have money at the side. For whatever reason, they don't give you loads, or they give you loads like really low pay. You have money to keep moving. So my recommendation when you're starting with your MC, with your license, is work for someone, work for a company at least for a year, so you can get an idea of how to operate, especially like have experience on how to operate a truck. So when you apply for the DOT, the MC number, or the insurance, you already have the experience and they're not gonna decline you. So that is the main thing that I will recommend. There's a lot of information that I can give you because honestly, at the first 6 months, I was overwhelmed with all the information that I got, and I have to do a lot of research, websites, and talk to the MC, the DOT department, the driver license division here. But I'm not sure if you guys have any questions, because I'm not sure exactly what. I think that will be easier if I can get some feedback and what you guys are more interested in doing, or if you guys have any questions.
So it looks like we've got some questions here in the room, so we'll go ahead and let them ask their questions.
Is it on?
Yep.
Okay, so what do you usually haul? What's your main product? And then how does the dispatching work? Do you do your own dispatching through the brokers?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you have separate?
So we mainly, we have a reefers. We have 3 reefers, which is the ones that holds frozen food or chill, and we have dry vans. So we do both, and we run all the states. So I do the dispatcher. I search for loads, and I'm in contact with the drivers on a daily basis where they are. And we have a system. Another thing that I didn't mention is that every truck have a ELD box, which is a GPS, and is the one that is tracking where the truck is going, all the mileage that he's running, where he's stopping. If he's following the rules for hours, that's another thing that they have like a 14 hours period to shift. It's 14 hours total, but in the 14 hours, there's only 11 hours that the drivers can actually drive. So I have to keep eye on them. And we have this box that is going to tell me everything, where the driver is, how many hours does he have. So I'm in contact between the broker and the drivers. Yeah, that's what I do. I do the dispatching too. And each load is different. Like when it's a reefer load, it's a little bit more complicated, I will say, because the appointments are really strict. When it's a dry load, it's a little bit easier, because if something happened on the road, you don't have the reefer running, and then the schedules are different for delivery and pickup. So yeah, but I do both, and I do the dispatching too. Does that answer your question, or you need any?
It does answer my question. I got plenty more for you. So
okay.
When starting out, what do you offer for employee benefits being a smaller company, and how does that all work with them?
So some employees, they will like to have 1099. Usually most of the drivers, they will like to have 1099 at the end of the year. So what I request to them is to open a company, like open an LLC company, so I can pay directly to their company. But right now I'm in the process to change that. Probably we're gonna do W-2s because we're growing. So I think it will be better. And we offer workers' comp. And yeah, that's basically how we pay. And we pay per mile. We pay 70 cents per mile. We usually, I mean, most of the companies around here, they pay from 50 cents a mile to 60 cents a mile. We're paying 70 cents a mile because what we have, and well, my husband and I, we agree that we want to share what we have in order to get good drivers. So we want to keep our drivers happy, and we want to, we want them to have a fair pay. So that's what we're doing right now.
Very cool. V. White has a question for you.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for taking my question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I am a woman owner, a minority woman, and I am in the very beginning phases of, I guess, putting together my company. And I am at the point to where, so now I've been in ownership for a little over a year. And I have something called, I guess, annual filing requirements. So I guess what I'm trying to figure out is it best, or do you think it's advisable that I do my filing the first time, or should I source this out to have this done? I am my own registered agent at the moment. I have not assigned an agent, but I think I'm getting ready to, because of, I guess, different things that's going to be on documents that's going to be publicized. And because of the things that are publicized, I don't want my personal information out there.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you have a year working
Putting together, yes, I wanted to start my company on a very solid foundation. So I took a year doing my paperwork, getting my US dot numbers and EIN numbers and all of those things. So I put most of my paperwork, opening up my business account. I did all of that. I've started building capital. I have capital. I'm just at the point to where, as though, I'm starting to be able to shop for my first truck.
Oh, okay.
And during this process, I am now looking at, I got something in the mail that says annual filing. So I know from my understanding that this is something that a resident agent would have done for me had I hired one. Well, I have not hired one as of yet, but I'm moving towards that because I don't want my personal information out there on the web or anything else. So if for nothing else, I need to get a virtual address, virtual something. So this annual filing fee, not fee, but the annual filing for the company.
You're talking about the filing that you have to do because you have an LLC?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Okay. So do you have an accountant?
Yes.
Have you talked about the situation with him?
No, I have not. I've only discussed taxes, and that's a team that has been one of my last teams that I just built. My next meeting with them is not until March 10th, 10th or 11th.
Because that will be a good thing to discuss with him for the first filing. He will give you more details about it, and he will tell you how to do it.
Well, you said accountant, and I guess that's why I didn't never bring it up, because I thought filing, that filing, I didn't think it was tax related or, anything to do with finances. I thought that it was just like paperwork to see if I have this in place, paperwork that in place, that to keep my company in good standing, I guess. I didn't think it had anything to do with the financials, which is one reason that I didn't bring it up with the accountant.
I think it's more like, because filing, so right now at this point, do you have a DOT number, an MC number, or just
Yes.
a company? You have
I have a US dot number.
Okay, and you have it. So the first filing is talking about the IFTA, or is talking about, where do you get the letter from?
I did not want to go. I'm in Maryland, and I did not want to go into the email message because I didn't know what it was going to do. So I thought that if I had clicked on the link, that it was going to take me straight into filing mode. And I wanted to be able to wrap my arms around it before I went into this document. So I guess I'm just gonna have to go into it and try to just do it to see what it is.
Yeah, because I'm not sure exactly in Maryland how things works
Yes.
on the trucking industry. Every state is different. Even
Okay.
even when you have the permit to go through every state in the United States. For example, Oregon. Oregon is different when talking about taxes for diesel.
Uh-huh.
To get a permit, an actual permit, every time you cross the state. There's a few states that they require that, and they will work differently than any other state. So probably the best thing is to do, if there's a phone number, or if you're going to go to a link that they send you, if you find a person that it will tell you exactly what that is, what kind of filing they expect, what is it that you need to do, because here in Utah, they're talking about filing per year. I'm assuming there's a filing that you have to do the taxes or have anything to do with the accounting, because you have to do a yearly, right? But I'm not sure in Maryland how that works.
Yes.
If there's a phone number or someone or an address in the letter that you can probably call and talk to them.
That's what it says. It says submit your Maryland annual business filings online.
But I'm
That's
thinking
exactly what it is.
I think it's the LLC. They're talking about
Okay.
filing for taxes and LLC. How much money did you make?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Well, then that should be easy enough because I haven't done anything yet.
Yeah, you can just file zero. You can file
Okay.
zero. And then just, yeah, exactly. You don't have to file. You don't have to tell them anything. You can just file zero.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, on that same note, you're going to want to take in close consideration with your accountant or your CPA about your business structure, because right now you're an LLC, and the more you earn, there's a point where you're going to want to cross over and change into a corporation, so that you're because it's going to be a tax benefit for you to be a corporation versus an LLC, because there's a certain level that you'll cross into and have to pay what's called self-employment tax, and it can be very expensive. I hit that level of my first business and it hurt really, really bad. So make sure you stay in close connection with your CPA or your accountant so that you are starting to fill out that paperwork before you hit that level, because you can't go back and do the paperwork. It's only moving forward. So your business structure is very important, and that's how you work with your CPA on making sure that that is the right tax structure for your business.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, like we just did, like we were used to be an LLC, and just now we changed to a C corporation, because in a C corporation, you can have different companies, different LLCs by the corporation, and you can rent your equipment to your main company, or you can rent your office or your house, or so it's like a structure that it will help you better with the taxes at the end of the year, so you don't pay a lot of taxes. So we just did it last month, because we started the company in 2019. So it's been growing at the point that we have now 6 trucks and we need to do something. And so we don't have to pay a lot of taxes at the end of the year.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So what other questions do we have?
So when you first started out, what was your overhead? And then when did you really start seeing green? How far into your business did you start seeing a little bit more green numbers and being able to put, you said 20,000 savings per truck?
Yeah.
So
we bought the company. We have some money saved at the time we bought the company. And so the company, we got a HELOC from our home. So we bought the company for $96,000, and it was 1 truck, 1 trailer, and all the permits. So, and we have about 50,000 more on the bank that it was just sitting there, which it was great because we didn't know what we were going to go through. So Unfortunately, the truck that we bought, it was a 2018 and it was 300,000 miles, which it was great. But that engine, particularly that kind of engine on that truck, we had a lot of problems. So we actually ended up putting like $15,000 to the truck. And so we bought the company in August. And because we had the MC number from the prior company, it was a little bit easier to get loads right away. So we start getting loads by the end of that year, 2019. It was unbelievable because from October to December, we were able to make $165,000 from the loads that we were running just from October through the end of the year. But yeah, so that's what we did from those, just in a few months. So starting the 2020, we got another 2 trucks and another 2 trailers. So yeah, so we start actually pretty fast. We were actually seeing income coming really fast at that point. So I can tell you, like 2020, 2020 was different, and then 2021 it was when we actually make a lot of profit. The company, we were able to make, like, we were doing we haven't done the taxes yet, but it was about before taxes we did like around $600,000 on the second year with running 3 trucks only, like steady, like the whole year they were running. So there's a lot of money on the company. Honestly, you can make a lot of money, but you have to be really careful with all the. I'm sorry?
Is that your gross or is that net?
That's gross. That's before taxes.
For taxes, is that before driver wages and?
Is that before driver wages and payout?
Yeah, before everything. That's the total what the company made before, like, adding expenses. And so, and our expenses, as of right now, I think it's like probably $250,000, $100,000 on the expenses. So yeah, it was a big jump for, working for a salary in 2019 and then jumping into this. It was a lot, but there's a lot of that's what I'm saying, that you're talking about. So this is what we get roughly when you get a load, depends if it's a driver or reefer. You can get paid, for example, $3 per mile, $4 per mile. That's what you get. So you pay the driver 70 cents per mile. And then you have to consider the insurance. You have to consider the diesel that is really high right now. So if something happened when your truck, that's the problem. That when something happened with your truck, the insurance is almost $3,000 a month for the insurance, not for one truck. We're paying that for 4 trucks and 6 trailers right now. So those bills keeps moving, and if something happened in your truck and you don't have money to fix that truck, you still have to pay everything on the truck. So, but if we changed an engine in a truck, and it was like $30,000 just to change the engine on the truck because it was completely dead. It was gone. So if you don't have that money, you can't keep moving, and then everything starts falling apart because you have to keep paying the drivers. It's really hard to get drivers at this point. So if you don't have stability with them, they just gonna leave. They're just gonna say, you know what, I need to keep moving, because they get money per mile. So yeah, that's roughly what we make since we start until now. So yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it to go through everything.
So how much on average is the maintenance on one truck a year? Just to give these guys an idea.
just to have a maintenance is probably, I will say about 20,000. Because the tires, you have to tailor the tires. You have to change the tires at least once a year. And for changing the tires on the truck is about $7,000 to $8,000 to change the tires, plus the oil change, the service, everything you have to do if nothing happens. But yeah, usually it's about $20,000 to $25,000 a year. If the engine is fine, of course. Yeah, and the thing is that when you get a truck and it's really high in mileage, you have to consider that probably in a few years, maybe 1 or 2 years, you have to change the whole engine. That's another thing. And there's a thing, well, it's close with the engine, but well, there's a lot of things on the mechanical side that we were lucky to find a mechanic, a shop that is working with us directly. So we sent all our trucks to them and they take care of everything. So that's really a key too when you're starting a company. Establish a relationship with a small shop, not with a dealer. The dealer is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. If you take your truck there for an oil change or something, it's gonna take 2 days. If you don't have any idea what's going on with the truck and the light is on, if you take it to the dealer, it will take probably a week for them to let you know what's going on. So if you find a little shop somewhere in Salt Lake and you establish a relationship with the mechanic, that's the best thing you can do, because he will be available. He will be available for you when you need help fixing the truck or getting the tires done or whatever is going on with the truck. And we did that. My husband established a relationship with the shop here in Salt Lake City, and they work with us in any problems that we have. They're actually willing to travel with him. Like if we need to go to Texas, we can go with you and we can fix it. And they're really good. So that's another key thing for you when you open a company, to have a mechanic.
What other key partnerships should be established other than a mechanic when opening a company?
What kind? I'm sorry?
What other key partnerships? So a mechanic, it sounds like you need a good CPA or accountant for the books. What other key partnerships do you think they need when opening a business?
Well, another thing that you have to establish eventually after you're running for a year or two, establish a relationship with brokers. Because when you have established a relationship with brokers, they're going to continually give you loads. So they're like dedicated routes that you don't have to be searching for loads every day. So when you get to that point, a lot of brokers, maybe after a year or a year and a half, they will give you loads weekly. So you don't have to be searching for loads every week. They will call you and let you know what they have for that week, and you can choose whatever you want for that week. So it's easier for you when you have dedicated routes, because you know where you're going and you know you're coming back. When are you coming back home? And you don't have to go all over. So that's another thing, to establish a relationship with brokers. One thing I did is I went to Linksys and I started searching for brokers, like companies, and I just find the guys that helped me before to find a load, and I just tried to connect with them, and I send an email once in a while saying, hey, how are you? I have this truck available. Do you have any loads that they're going to be, you know, consistent going through this place? And that's another, but that takes time. It takes time at the beginning, and depends on how much they pay. If it's something that you think is fair and you're willing to take that pay, then it's perfect. It's easier for a owner operator because you don't have to share your income with anybody. It's your income. So you decide if you want to get it or not, or if it's not a fair pay. Usually for us, because we have to pay the driver, we have to get a little bit more. But when it's an owner operator, my husband was an owner operator for the company for a year at the beginning. And it's totally different because all the money is for you. So, but when you have drivers, it's different. You have to get a little bit more money. So yeah, that's another thing to establish a mechanic, brokers, and a good CPA. And eventually because you have to file taxes for the diesel every quarterly, that's another thing that you can find a company. There's companies out here in Salt Lake City that they can help you running the company, getting all the permits, because you have to renew permits like every year, and they are on top of everything. They do everything for you. So when you have 2 or 3 trucks, it's better to hire a company that is going to do all that. And they give you packages and they charge you probably $260 per year. Depends on what you need, but they can do everything. And right now I'm talking with someone at a company like that here in Salt Lake City, and they can do everything for you. You don't have to worry about any permits or anything, and they actually do. That's another thing. Invoices for the brokers. That's another thing. That's why you have to have money in the back, because some brokers, they will pay you after 30 days or 45 days for the load you did. So if you're waiting for that money in order to keep running, it's not going to happen. Some of them pay you 3 days or 7 days after you finish the load, but they're going to charge you 3% of the total of the load. So there's companies that they will do the invoice and they open a credit for you. So you get your money next day. And they're going to charge you between 3%, 2%. Right now, the one that we have is 1.99% per load. But I submit all my loads and I get paid next day. So that way you can keep running. You don't have to wait for the brokers, and they deal with the brokers. So that's a good thing to have too when you're starting. They're called factory companies, and they're all over. There's a lot of factory companies. You can do your own research. The one we have is called eCapital, and I think it's in Minnesota, but it's in in different parts of the United States, but it's called eCapital, and they do all the invoices for me, and it's great because you have your money right there, so you can keep moving. If something happened, you have to pay the drivers. Next day you have your money in your bank. So that's the main thing. You wait for the brokers, it could be a nightmare. Sometimes it takes more than 45 days to get paid. So yeah, that's another thing, to get a company that will do all the invoices for you. We didn't get one at the beginning, and it was not a good idea, because I know that people will tell you, oh, don't do that because they make you sign a contract, and you don't do any, and it's not true. It's actually really good. It's really good to get that companies like that.
Yeah, it's nice to have your money immediately, and it might not be feasible in the very beginning. But as the bigger you get, the smarter that is to have that money immediately and have somebody else chasing those invoices for you.
Exactly, because somebody will go after them, and there's some companies that they will. The one that we have, even if the broker is not, they don't get payment from the broker, they have their own collection department. So they will do everything for you. You just take that out of your head and you have the money and you can keep running. Because if you get a truck, nowadays, if you find a truck and it's a good deal, like my husband, he was just looking, okay, sell for trucks. And he was just like, okay, we got one in, I think it was Heber. He had the money to buy the truck in cash. So he just called the guy. He went to see the truck, and he's like, okay, right, I have it right here. I pay you in cash. So you can get really good deals when you have cash in hand. And instead of getting the loan is another nightmare, because they ask you for so many things. And then the seller is like, okay, if somebody else comes, I'm just gonna sell the truck. And usually that happens. When it's a really good deal, they're not gonna wait for you. So if you have the money, you're saving money. Like if you're running already and you want to buy another truck or a newer trailer, if you have the money in hand, it's going to be really easier. Then you can hire a driver, and you can run one truck and you start with one driver. That's the way you can start getting more trucks, and then you do the same with the second truck. So yeah, that's one way to do it. We were lucky to have a grain day here in Utah that they opened the doors for us. So they work with Landstar, which is a leasing company. They lease trailers here in Utah, and they gave us a deal, lease to purchase trailers. So we put money down and we signed a contract. So we're paying the trailers as a lease purchase right now, because we didn't have any. If your company doesn't have credit, it's really hard for you to get equipment. They won't give you any equipment. So that's a good thing to start your credit, getting the trust from one company, with, in this case, Landstar, Grain Day in Utah. They're really great to work with. They're really, really great to work with. So they lease the trailer, but they can give you the option to purchase and lease, and they see how you're making the payments. So I know we got to a point right now, just 2 months ago, the sales guys that we work with, he called and says, we have a trailer, but it's not a lease, it's a purchase. And you guys are ready to get a purchase. So we're gonna give you a purchase. So that's the way building relationship with dealers is another thing too. So they don't give you like a really high interest, because sometimes they give you 14% for a purchase, for buying a trailer. And we got the 8%. So it's hard at the beginning in any way. But then
She saying you were working with, or who did you say you were working with was really good to work with on that?
What's that company, Patty?
is Grain Day Salt Lake City.
Great Dane, Salt Lake City?
Okay.
Yeah, Grain Day. And they work together with Landstar. Landstar, they're a leasing company. They lease trailers, and they are the ones who, and combined with Grain Day, gave me the opportunity to get a lease purchase trailer. So you can check with them, and you can start from there. You can get a lease purchase. Right now, they don't have any. They said they're short in trailers until next year or something, but you can still check with them and see if they have opportunities. I was not looking at the chat.
So Patty, how is trucking, the business changed from pre-pandemic to post-pandemic? Have you noticed any big changes that are notable?
Actually, for us, it was, well, I just hate to say this, but it was great. Well, the case is, the thing is that we were going to California at that time. Every week, 2 or 3 times a week, we were going to California. So for the trucking industry, nothing stops. It was always loads running back and forth. The only thing that changes when you get to the place, they won't let you go out of the truck. You just have to pull at the door. They will unload the truck and they email you the papers. So that was the only thing. We didn't have any contact with people, but it was still running. And it was actually, because it was no traffic in California, which it was a miracle. It was actually great because it was easier to get in and get out of California. So I don't see any changes at all on that. I mean, because of that. And usually the beginning of the year, between January, February, March, is really slow. Before the pandemic, before COVID, it was really slow. And this year, it was actually really, really good. January and February, it was kind of like the same as every month during the year. So it's as for the trucking industry, I think nothing changed. It's just now the price of the diesel, which is killing a lot of drivers, because it's like $5 per gallon, which increase a lot of expenses just for the diesel. And brokers are not paying more than what they used to. And actually the customers are not paying more. They're actually paying a little bit less because it's a chain. They don't have a lot of people working. So they short employees. And so it's affecting a little bit, but not as big, not
As big as you would think.
yeah.
Awesome. We're about out of time. Does anybody have any other questions?
Yeah, would you do it over again?
How, what, I'm sorry?
Would you do this over again, knowing what you know now? Was it worth it? Like, would
Oh,
you do this again?
Yeah, just do it.
How many
Yeah.
hours a day do you end up spending? And how many hours a day does your husband end up doing? Like working, what's your work schedule like now? Are you working 24/7 or are you working all hours a day?
Okay,
What's your
so
schedule like?
I was working 24/7 last year because we were growing. We were adding trucks and trailers and looking for drivers and establish like registered trucks. And so it was a lot of work because we were kind of like getting the foundation of the company. So it's a lot of work at the beginning, but then you delegate everything to companies like the one that is doing the IFTA right now for me, the taxes for the diesel, the invoices, and I'm gonna hire a part-time assistant so she can do all the, because every time you deliver a load, there's a BOL, the proof of delivery, that you have to send to the broker, and you have to send that with the invoice and with the rate confirmation that they send you, which is a paper telling you all about the load. So it's a process that you have to follow, but right now I'm working, honestly, I'm working like probably 6 hours a day, but if I delegate more work to different companies, it's going to be less and less. What the only thing that I really like to do, and my husband is always with me when we do that, is searching for loads. Like when we're getting loads, we want to make sure that we're getting paid the right amount. So that's one thing that I tried with 2 different companies. They were searching loads for me, but they were not getting what I wanted to. So that's one thing that I'm doing right now, but eventually I'm going to train someone, or I'm going to find a company that is going to do it for me too, or we're going to get dedicated routes too. That's another thing that usually big companies, they don't listen to you when you're like, oh, I have 1 truck and I can do, dedicated routes. It's a little bit hard. And it's when you said I have 3 or 4 trucks ready, because they know you can go back and forth. And if something happened with one, you're gonna have another one. So right now we're working on getting dedicated routes. So when the driver knows where he's going, and if you know where the pickup and delivery is gonna be each week, it's easier. It's way easier because you don't have to spend a lot of time searching for loads. So yeah, I work like about 6 hours, but with 1 truck, I was working honestly like 3 hours, 3 hours a day, or even not even daily, maybe 3 times a week. Especially if you're the owner operator, is easier. There's programs out there that you can do on the computer. You scan the documents, you send it directly to the broker, and they send you the payment. So when you're owner operator, it's not gonna be that hard if it's only 1 truck. The problem, well, not the problem, but when it gets a little bit harder is when you start adding trucks and you have drivers. Is there any way for me to keep in touch? Yes, of course. And
You're muted, Pastor. She can hear
one
you.
thing, last thing that I think I should say is if you have a chance to work for any company locally, and they can do the process for the CDL, and they will give you a year, 2 years contract. I mean, it's fine because nobody else will give you the chance to start working with them. If you try to get in with any company, and I was like, why they don't give me now that I'm in this place, I'm like, I understand why, because insurance is so expensive, and they won't let you use drivers if they have less than 2 years of experience, or at least a year and a half. So if a company give you a chance, that we pay for your CDL, we train you, we give you a job for 2 years, I think it's the best way to go when you're starting. So when you're done with the 2 years, you have the experience, and you have the license, and you can do your own thing now. And you can start looking into getting a new truck or a trailer, and register all the do all the paperwork to do your own company. So I think it's a smart way to go. So you don't go through so much headache trying to get loads or people to hire you to work as an owner operator. And it's a totally different it's a totally different process being a driver than being an owner operator, than being an actual owner of a company and having drivers. It's new things, it's different. But starting from being driver, it's a great way to go. So you get the experience and nobody's going to tell you, oh no, you have less than 2 years, you have less than 1 year. The insurance is going to be really high, even if you're the owner. Like as an owner, when you call insurance and you're like, okay, I have 6 months of experience, they're not gonna insure your trucks. They won't do it. They want someone, even if you're the owner, they want you to have at least 1.5 years or 2 years of experience. So then you can get the insurance, and it's gonna be really high at the beginning. It could be between $14,000 to $15,000 a year for only one truck and one trailer. But if you have more experience, they will give you better rates. So I don't know, if we will go back, my husband will go back, they will tell you just work with the company, even if you hate them, because it's really hard to work with local companies, especially England. But XPO England, ShipX, there's different local companies that you can work with and get the experience before you open your company, and you can save the money at that and during that time, if you have the time, right? Or find someone that is willing to drive your truck and say, like for example, if you can register a company and you can be the owner of a company as long as you're not the driver. So when you call the insurance, it's like, yeah, I'm the owner, I have all the permits, but I have a driver and you have 5 years of experience. Then it's different. They will give you the insurance. So, but I think it's better if you do it first and you go and actually take the loads and do the job before you hire someone, so you can tell them what to do. Because some drivers, it's not that they don't know, but sometimes they don't really do the right thing on the road. They don't follow the rules, and because it's not their company, they will not care about whatever is going to happen. So if you do it yourself first and you know what to do, you know what to tell them to do, and you will tell them what to expect from them. So that's a good way to go.
It was just asked in the chat, do you have to have insurance before the truck moves?
I'm sorry, you have to have the insurance? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Do you have to have the insurance before the truck moves? It was just asked in the chat.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and you have to have the insurance. That's the first thing you have to get when you get the truck. Find the insurance and then register the truck. Yeah, but you have to have it, and you don't pay no, it's a lot to pay out of your. Well, it's not going to be $14,000 one payment. It's going to be monthly payments, and it's going to start as soon as when you get the insurance, is because you check with the insurance first. Okay, so you can tell them, this is how many years do I have? This is a truck that I have. Of course, they're gonna ask you for the MC number, the DOT number. Do you have to be ready? At that point, you're ready to start running. So they're gonna ask you for a down payment. You have to be ready. They ask you, usually what we pay was $4,000 for down payment. And then the first payment was next month. So that's why I'm saying that you have to have money in order to start running. So you can make the first payment on the insurance. And if you bought the truck, if you didn't buy the truck cash and you have to make payments for the truck, you have to consider having 6 months of payments. Whatever your monthly payments are, save 6 months, put it at the side, so you're ready for if something happened, you have the payment for the insurance. And as soon as you get your first check, our first check, it was $4,000, and one going from here to Indiana. And then coming back from Indiana, it was another $3,000. So you can get money pretty quick, but you have to have something on the back to make sure you make the payments on time. So yeah, no, it's not 14,000. The first payment is monthly. So.
Very cool. Patty is such a wealth of knowledge. I wish we could keep going, but our next class is ready to start. It's 11 o'clock and we've got people coming in. So we're going to have to cut this short. We so appreciate Patty taking time out of her, what sounds like incredibly busy schedule for her business to come and to talk to us about her experience building this business and being an owner operator with her husband. And we wish her luck. And hopefully we can have her back for a part 2 in a couple of months maybe, and go over some next steps or next level of classes. How does that sound, Patty?
Yeah, this is the first time I do this. So I'm sorry if I didn't bring a lot of information. I tried to think, what my experience was and how we did it. It was different than when you start your company from scratch. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but I have a friend that I help. After we open a company, he reached out to me and he's like, I want to open my own company. And I tried to tell him what to do and where to go, but he actually did it from scratch. He got the MC, the DOT number, he did all that process that I already had when I bought the company. So yeah, but hopefully I give you information, and if you guys have any questions, I guess I'm here. And I will send a paper, a print. I did a paper, so with some information, but going to the DOT website, you will get a lot of answers because they go step by step, and everything you need to get in order to open a company. So if you go to that website, it's going to be really, really helpful. I can send you that, Megan, and you can send it through email.
Can you hear me now? Okay, that would be great. Yes, I'll definitely send that out to email to all of those that registered for the class. And then this will also be recorded. It'll obviously be on our Facebook page permanently, and then we'll also put it up on our YouTube page so that you guys can go back and reference that. We really appreciate everybody that took the time out of their busy schedules to join us today, and we hope that you have a wonderful week. Thank you, Patty, again. We'll be in touch soon.
Okay, thank you guys, and good luck. Anything that I can help with, I will be happy to. I can refer you to someone if I don't know the answer. But yeah, just keep in there, and any questions, let me know or let Megan know.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.